I'm Black American. I was raised in Florida, but my family is Southern. So we have to go to the north to go to the south. I wanted to answer the last prompt, but I guess I'll answer this one. And then if we have time, I'll answer the last one. So I'm a Black American that has lived abroad. And I still do live abroad right now. So Black Americans do thrive in other countries, but Black Americans go to other countries with a plan. So we do not go to other countries without proper paperwork. We don't go there without looking for work. We don't expect to go there just for the scenic, the scene and the atmosphere. We're going to go and we want to maintain our same, like, the standards of living. Whereas when you have people coming from African countries or the Caribbean, the bare minimum in another country is even better than what they're used to. So yes, Black Americans do thrive abroad, but when they go abroad, they have a plan, they have tons of money saved, and they also have that safety net that is needed that a lot of other people don't have, and they're not willing to gamble to leave their security in the US to go somewhere else and be like a beggar. So that's the first thing I want to say. Can I answer the last prompt too, as love?
Yes, go ahead, Taylor. You got one more minute.
Okay. Okay, so just really quick. The last one when you're talking about the white immigrants, this is a big this is a big thing. This is where white people get the chance to be called expats. And then you have all the other people who travel and they get called immigrants. Black Americans, when they travel, they also are called expats. And a big difference where Europeans and people in the States, when they look at Black Americans traveling abroad, they don't look at them as people who are going to leech off the system. So we do get way more respect. And a lot of them think that they can kind of semi-dress like us and be considered Black American, but even Europeans can spot it and they can tell the difference also with phenotypes, like, like your facial features and stuff. They can tell the difference. People think that they can't, like a lot of Africans think they can't. They can tell the difference. So that's it. I just wanted to comment on that because I did have a little experience in this.
Wait a minute, Taylor.
Yeah.
While we got you here, how they can tell the difference? Did somebody say something? Did you have a discussion or anything?
I did. I recently asked. I was on a road trip and there was a guy, he had black skin and we were in Europe and everyone was who I was in the car with except one other person. We were in the car. They were inside of like a truck stop, a gas station stop on the highway. And the guy was outside and he was wearing kind of like semi hip hop clothing. And I just asked, I said, do you think that person's Black American? And I was listening to Tariq. So like, I've never asked that before, but it was, Tariq goes on really late at night, but I was in Europe. So it's like 8, 9 o'clock. That's like the perfect Tariq time when he's at home. So I was like, do you think that person Black American? And he looked at the person. He was like, no. And I was like, why? And he was like, he kind of looks like he's stuck in the 90s. And I was just like, and what else? And then he just started to comment on little like things. And he was just like, he just doesn't look like a Black person. I was just like, oh, okay. It was just real simple. I just like, oh, do you think that person looks like a Black American? And he looked like, you know how like some of the Somalis have that really like deep skin, like some Indians have that as well, but you can still look at their phenotype and their hair texture and you can tell that there's something else there. That's how it was. So yeah, I asked. That was the first time I actually asked a European. But yeah. And you could just kind of look at it.
I wonder what they say. I'm sorry. Soul got a question. It's some people probably got questions. If you can give us a minute, Taylor. I wonder, do you think they can tell us and Caribbeans apart, like Jamaicans?
I think they can? Yeah, and sometimes it's with the manner. I can tell. I'm from South Florida. And when I grew up, I didn't grow up around Africans. So I didn't hear Akata, but I heard like Yank. And I can tell from different mannerisms that they weren't like me. And then as I grew up, I started to learn like I didn't know about different Caribbean countries. I just knew like, oh, this person's kind of different. All I knew was Haiti. I grew up, it was like a lot of Haitians moved into the neighborhood at one point in time. When it comes to Europeans, maybe not necessarily with Caribbeans, especially like second gen, but I do think like, you know how they come to the US and they create their little enclaves, like like, for example, my brother looks like my dad's side of the family. They have hazel eyes, light skin. We have the same mom and dad. My mom's side of the family, like it's just the way that our genetic makeup is so diverse. We look different. We just look different. Where you look at them and it almost is like looking at, it's like harsher features. And so like some of the Jamaicans, they'll stick with Jamaicans. So like that gene pool stays like exactly the same. Like how you look at a person from the Cameroon, from, Uganda, you can tell like different features. Yeah. So I
They do
think that they
have
can
a
tell that
certain look.
something's up.
And you know what? That made me think of, and no shade to no women from New York or nothing, but like in Detroit, when we was growing up, like in the '90s and stuff, we used to go to New York a lot. You know what I mean? And people, New York had this stigma of all the girls from New York being unattractive. Not saying that that's true, but I heard a lot of men in the Midwest saying that, And now that I'm older and I know, like it's heavily immigrated there. That's why I think that that, in my opinion, that's why I think that a lot of Black American men were saying that about New York. Have
Well, like
y'all ever
growing up in
heard that?
South, I'm sorry.
Have y'all
I've
ever
heard
heard that,
that
Black
plenty.
American men?
Oh, 100%. Yep. Yep. We used to go up there to New York and we used to try to, holler at shorties and all what have you. But we used to ask, what can you cook? Can you cook? And we used to look at their shoes too. If their shoes were clean, we knew we were good. If their shoes were dirty, our grandma put us on that though. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I see. I mean, it's a lot of. I mean, I never said that. Listen, but that's what the men say. But now, I see there's a lot of immigrants there.
Hardwig heaven.
I just wanted to ask her, how was life living abroad, and do she get treated like an immigrant?
Okay, so I lived in the south of Brazil once, and then I now live, I won't say the country because this is like a burner account. I have another account that has a decent amount of followers, and I do work for like a corporation that fire people. So that's why we here. But so there's a hierarchy that I think that Africans are in denial of, especially the ones who I'm not. So this is a hierarchy, right? Black Americans, then it's the Africans who've come over who have married well, and that's how they have their citizenship or whatnot in the other country. Then there is the Africans who have of residency, black melanated people have some type of residency, and then it's the people who a lot of them were smuggled on the black market. And I've with this thing as well. At one point in time, I used to interview melanated immigrants, black immigrants, African immigrants in my country, and hear their stories. So a lot of them, there's like black markets for the people who come over on boats and stuff. Like it's like a travel agency. So I do not. Have I been racially profiled? I have. I know this is, none of us agree about everything. I am in a relationship with a European, but I live my life in Europe solo. So I'm walking around and doing all that stuff on my own. So we do get treated differently, and they can tell the difference. I don't want to say it's not arrogance. That's what some people would consider it. It's like our confidence. Like we walk into places, no problem. Something's not right. We do speak up. I wanted to comment on something else really quick earlier. The gentleman talked about putting the money in your hand. I've talked about this before. This is very American. In Europe, a lot of places will put it on the counter, even if you put it in their hand. So just for an American, for Americans traveling abroad, a lot of Europe, they will give you the money on the table, no matter what it is. That's just the customary. A lot of people will have commented that this is like racism they've experienced abroad. It's a cultural thing that's normal. I just want to throw that out there because I heard a gentleman talk about that earlier. But no, I don't get treated like I am and they know. That's the thing. They know. I have a lot of friends who are Africans who have immigrated to Italy in other countries, and they're going through their whole thing, and they know the difference. They have eyes, and that, I mean, like if you go to South Africa, you'll see the difference of the black South Africa, what they call them, coloreds, and the black and whatever. You can feel the envy of you being able to walk around with respect and like people let you in. So yeah, no, you actually, it's different. They do see the difference.
Hey,
Yeah,
sis.
I can attest to that too. When I was in Ethiopia working on that solar panel field, yeah, they hate it too. They used to call me white boy out there. They say your mama, and they keep it going. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's a they can tell 100%. There, Togo too. That little town, that little country, Togo, on the west part of Africa, same shit. You know what I mean? So